pe whiakenga kore ratu I a whaiani. Oe anora, nā te whare toa tēnei whakaturi ki te matahua tō tātenei ariki a te iauko. Nā reira, tēnā koutou te puari, tēnā koutou o tui nei o ngā tini kaupapa o te wānei. Kore no ki re atu amihi. I te tiru wairo te wānei, ti anō, rātou ki rātou tātou ngā whaturu pā rātou mā. Me te mi anō ki toku upoko a Lewisa. Kono rā kia watu te rākau ki a Lewisa.
Kia ora, Mr. Chair, committee members, tēnā koutou katoa. As chair of the Tuwharetoa Iwi Māori Partnership Board, I join colleague Luke Rowe to express opposition to the principles of the Treaty of Waitangi Bill on behalf of Tuwharetoa IMPB. I too acknowledge Te Ariki Nui Tātunu Te Hiauhiau, Paramount Chief of Ngāti Tuwharetoa, who has appointed us in the exercise of our roles and responsibilities under the Pai Order Healthy Futures Act 2022. Iwi Māori Partnership Boards are a recognition of Te Tiriti o Waitangi and the partnership between the Crown and Māori. We have been empowered to co-design solutions that reflect the aspirations of iwi and hapu, prioritise.
So I'll just turn that advanced speed down because by the looks of it, it's not able to keep up.
Tiratanga and ensure meaningful Māori leadership. This approach honours Te Tiriti o Waitangi and provides a model for the Crown to follow in other areas of governance. This bill fails to honour the intent of Te Tiriti. It diminishes the mana and tino rangatiratanga of iwi and hapu and undermines the foundational relationship between Māori and the Crown. While it purports to clarify, it results in confusion and risks damaging trust and eroding the constitutional basis of Aotearoa New Zealand. The Cabinet Manual recognises Te Tiriti o Waitangi as a founding document of New Zealand's government, a principle articulated by the Right Honourable Sir Kenneth Keith in 1990 and upheld today. Any legislation undermining Te Tiriti disregards this constitutional commitment. The bill claims legislatively undefined treaty principles create ambiguity, but this ignores decades of careful articulation by the Waitangi Tribunal and the courts. These reports and determinations on the interpretation of the principles of Te Tiriti reflect the status of Te Tiriti as our constitutional foundation. The regulatory impact statement itself identifies the status quo as the preferred approach. It highlights how existing processes have recognised Māori-Crown relations, acknowledged tino rangatiratanga, and maintained constitutional balance. The rationale for the bill provides no evidence that legislating treaty principles would enhance these outcomes. Highlighting flaws in the process. Firstly, lack of consultation. The bill was developed without meaningful engagement with Māori as the Te Tiriti partner. This is a fundamental breach of articulated principles of Te Tiriti, particularly principles of partnership and participation. The Waitangi Tribunal has already found the bill discriminatory and inconsistent with Article 2 of Te Tiriti, citing significant prejudice to Māori rights. Secondly, there's a narrow focus on political commitments. The regulatory impact statement was driven by coalition commitments rather than a genuine intent to honour Te Tiriti. This narrow scope has resulted in misguided and limited analysis, insufficient testing of assumptions, and failure to explore broader constitutional impacts. The key risks of this bill. Firstly, undermining Māori-Crown relations. By defining treaty principles in a way that ignores the status of Māori as Indigenous First Nations people who entered a treaty that reflected that status to enable the establishment of the governance of Aotearoa is a distortion of the history of Aotearoa New Zealand. It undermines the significance of Te Tiriti o Waitangi and the purported partnership. Secondly, constitutional uncertainty. Rather than enhancing clarity, the bill undermines established jurisprudence and creates confusion. It threatens to destabilise Māori-Crown relations by disregarding the interpretations that have evolved over time. And thirdly, ignoring tino rangatiratanga. The bill fails to recognise iwi and hapu as treaty partners and undermines existing mechanisms that provide Māori with a role in decision-making, such as the Pai Order Act, which establishes iwi Māori partnership boards as Te Tiriti partners. IMPBs play a critical role in this framework, with responsibilities that extend beyond advisory functions to include assessing, monitoring, planning and delivering health services within their rohe. Their contributions are essential to achieving the objectives of the Act and fulfilling their role as Te Tiriti partners. Fundamentally, this bill seeks to rewrite the basis of Te Tiriti o Waitangi, excluding any recognition of Māori and tino rangatiratanga. In conclusion, this bill in its current form cannot proceed. It fails to uphold Te Tiriti o Waitangi, undermines Māori Crown relations and risks destabilising our constitutional framework. This bill must be rejected and a commitment made to processes that empower Māori to co-design legislative frameworks, ensuring the mana and tino rangatiratanga of iwi and hapu are upheld. Therefore, I urge the Select Committee to recommend that this bill not proceed, as Standing Order 299 allows the committee to determine whether a bill should advance. Ngā mihi nui kia koutou, and I'm very happy, as is Luke, to answer any questions.
Kia ora, Luke. We've got time for questions. We'll start with Todd Stevenson, then Marimino Kapki.
Hi both, thank you for being here in your submission. I just want to go to page 2 of your submission. You talk about investment in iwi and hapu-led initiatives, and talking there about health and education, for example. We know that we spend about $6,000 per person in New Zealand on healthcare. And you're saying, there could be some clauses to kind of give this direct allocation and funding to these initiatives. So if we could introduce a way where someone could opt in to a hapu or iwi-led healthcare system using that $6,000, would you be in support of that?
Opt-in, well, from an IMPB perspective, we have responsibilities under the Act, as I've talked about, that will eventually lead to us being strategic commissioners in our own right. Our mandate and our purview is to ensure that our tribal members have access to best practice medical treatment and prevention. So others opting into an iwi-led health service over time, we would welcome anybody to use our health service. And in fact, our ariki has been very clear that we serve all those who live within the jurisdiction of Ngāti Tuwharetoa iwi. So if you simply want to quantify it in monetary terms, what we're looking for is to embed ourselves within the health system to take our rightful place and have a role and responsibility in maintaining the health and well-being not only of our tribal members, but anybody who calls the Tuwharerohe their home.
Thanks, Todd. Thanks. What's Marimino, last question?
It was a tēnā koe kaurua ko Luke, kāne te mihi. Amongst this, the rhetoric running at times, the words such as ancestry mustn't matter in this instance, like it's not a marker, whether it's in a political, constitutional, political context, so it can't matter. In an IMPB reality on the ground, how do you hear that? How do you relate to that kind of thinking?
Well, from a tribal perspective, we don't relate at all because whakapapa is everything. Whakapapa determines your identity through obviously our connection to our maunga, to our awa, to our rohe, and not only to ourselves as human beings, but obviously the health of our whenua. And because we have roles and responsibilities within that context, then anybody who lives within the iwi or tuwharetoa, we have a responsibility to ensure that their health and well-being is upheld. So our fight for our health and well-being as Ngāti Tuwharetoa, in fact, is a fight for the health and well-being of all those who call Ngāti Tuwharetoa home.
Thank you, Lewisa. Thanks, folks. Luke, thank you both for being here this afternoon. We appreciate your time.
Okay, it's quite interesting with Lewisa actually mentioning the particular standing order on that. And for Firebed, this is quite a weird roll of the number of not in favour so far. It's been an interesting point considering it was usually one in favour, one not in favour, backwards and forwards as it goes all the way down there. Anyone else who's watching, feel free to post comments, what you think about what people are saying on there, because the fact is, at the moment, Firebed pretty much basically keeping things alive here, and keeping the feet on the fire for the politicians. So sit there and do that. Now, the next one we've already actually covered.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok.